Thank you for all standing. There. Oh my goodness. We've done the first two things, right? Who would like to make a motion to sign the warrants?
I'll make a motion to sign the warrants.
Second. All in favor? And Debbie, you do have the warrants. I think I have the rest of the original paper, which I'm going to give to you on this time.
Nói chung là vẫn bạc mà đã không dừng thì biết đả phá cũng bát này
Our town administrator Renee and our treasurer Suzette are both at election training in Augusta for 2 days, which is why they're not here. We do have a election coming up November 7th for some referendums, and if you want to familiarize yourself with what to vote for, there is a sample ballot in the foyer of the town office. Okay, who would like to approve the minutes of October 4th? I don't have a copy of the minutes. Do you have a motion? She did not give, I don't believe, I don't think I have one.
I don't think we have one.
Oh. Oh, there we go. I have them. You have October 4th minutes? I do. No, these are actually notes.
I have September 21st.
Okay, we're gonna. Well,
I have the agenda. Those are typed in.
Okay. But we didn't get these. Did anybody get them sent in by email? Because I didn't get them. We need to hold on that. We'll hold on the minutes because we have to actually get copies to look at. So we'll table the minutes of October 4th. Old business. Remember the other day we had to sign a few things for HUD for the H&D grant? Mm-hmm. I inadvertently missed, I'm glad we did them early because they're not due October 31st, and I missed one, which was the Equal Opportunity Employment Policy Statement. And we need a motion to sign that.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Then while you're signing that, I was rereading this requirement of that each community receiving a community development block grant funds must form a community development advisory committee to oversee and guide their project through its planning and implementation stages. The committee is formally created and appointed by the community's governing body, so I would not want to do anything. Although someone up there said all we needed to do is pick a few people, and I want to just do this formally, so we don't do anything. So they had originally suggested myself, Renee, and Holly, but I've added Suzette and Barbara Soletto, who all agreed to sit. Does anybody else want to sit on this committee? Okay, so we have to make a motion to form the committee. So I guess I can make a motion to formally create the Community Development Advisory Committee. Who wants to second it?
All right.
We both have.
Yeah, just
All in favor?
All right.
Good. Okay, so that's the first thing we have to put down because we're going to send it to them. And then we're going to, I obviously can't sign my appointment, but it's Barbara Soletto, myself,
Make a motion to
Renee
accept Carol, Renee Gray,
Holly,
Lyman,
and Suzette.
Suzette, and
Who else was it?
Barbara
Soletto.
to the
Community Development Advisory Committee.
Advisory
And
Committee.
this is in case,
And this is in case.
it is just to handle complaints, public relations, community input, selection of consultants or contractors. It's usually more involved when you have a whole engineering project and there's building involved, but still, it's nice to follow. This is part of phase 2, and we don't want to be kicked out for some stupid thing we didn't do. So, thank you.
Yeah, I think you could probably use the Economic Development Committee, you know, as well, if you didn't want to get them, but you didn't already.
And have to be familiar with this grant.
Yeah, and we are so
can't sign
focused
that.
on projects. We're so
Did
focused
we get a
on
second?
I
projects.
don't know, did we get a second on the appointment? We didn't.
No.
All in favor while we're signing it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you want to
You
sign?
seconded it.
Did you second it?
You seconded it.
I second, yeah.
I can't sign my own.
Okay, but I can sign this,
Yes.
right? Yes, okay.
And I just need 3. You just need 3
Yeah, I think that's
signatures.
good, unless you want to.
Right there.
I don't imagine we'll leave unless we have an issue, but it's mostly hold, it's done.
Stay on the lines, Mr. Wagner, please.
Wow.
So, I'll keep that. And then you get the appointment papers.
I'm still watching from the vote.
To mail the ladies
Wasn't
here.
It was very
That
challenging.
one,
Listen,
mm,
those windy,
you want 3 signatures
Very
on that one?
good. We have 2, need one more now.
Do we have 3 of?
here's 3, here's 3. You want just 3? There's 3.
Three enough.
There's 3.
Some more.
We got 3.
Let me check on my service too. Okay, that's under old business. Under new business, sign for school bus stop ahead. It says here, Lubec resident, a Lubec resident at 364 North Lubec Road has requested two school bus signs ahead, signs near her residence. She states it's very dangerous going on. Her 4-year-old grandson gets on and off the bus there daily. Renee spoke with Public Works Director Ricky, and he agreed that there should be signage in that area. So we all agree with that. That's informational. The micro enterprise grant applications, pre-applications will be available at the town office starting tomorrow. I just spoke with someone down there yesterday, and they haven't received their funding for this year, so they're pushing the application deadline for 2018's micro enterprise grant to February 9th. But that does not mean that you do not need it finished by the end of the year, because we have to have 4 or 5 weeks for the town to put their stuff together. So we're looking for, we can ask for up to $150,000. They can request anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000, and up to $30,000 if you can create a job for low to moderate income. You need to have your 2016 tax returns. You need to have a business plan. You need to meet with a business advisor, and Ruth Cash Smith is someone who's been helping us with the Small Business Association. We can give you her number. And that if you don't qualify for low to moderate income, you can still qualify for the grant if you create a new job for a low to moderate income person. And so that goes up to 30. So we can potentially help up to six different businesses. So the 2018 one isn't ready yet. The 2017 one you can come and get and start working on to use it as a guide for what they're going to ask for next year. Okay, we're going to appoint people to the town celebration committee. So we need a motion to appoint Cassandra Reed, Wanda Matthews, Jenny Brown, and Shirley Brown to the town celebration committee.
Make that a motion?
Second?
All in favor? There are a lot of signatures tonight. And thank you very much for, this is the most we've had, 4 people, we like a 5th. Anybody else wants to join the celebration committee, that would be just great, because they're working on the Christmas thing now, aren't they, Debbie?
Yeah, your uncle's Christmas party. Was gone.
Oh, speaking of, we're coming down to that later. We also have 2, we need to appoint Barbara Saletta as an election clerk. And I have 2 other appointments we can put in at the same time. Where is Ed? We have Josh Lyons to the Shellfish Committee and Tammy Simonson as alternate Shellfish Committee. So, do I have a motion for those appointments?
Make a motion.
Second?
All in favor? Very happy with that as well. It's gonna be
Carol
just
Densmore as,
Tammy,
board alternate.
huh? Tammy Simonson. Oh, sorry, Tammy, right.
No, but Carol Densmore too as, Harbor Board alternate.
Yes, we did that last time.
Oh,
We already did it, it came to a meeting. We've already appointed.
I missed a meeting?
So, right.
Okay, I missed a meeting.
Yeah, there's a copy.
Yes.
It's still in there.
Did I miss it?
I don't think so, I didn't.
No.
It was last
you were there.
Wednesday.
Well, 2 Wednesdays.
2 Wednesdays.
No, I was here.
Well, what's it say?
Yeah, totally was a meeting. I was here.
All right.
Well, we appointed it.
If we had the minutes, this wouldn't be a question.
It's a question in my mind.
Actually, he got appointed, he was sworn in, and he showed up at the first meeting, isn't that good? And they had a wonderful time.
But did he-
Oh, I thought you meant he was at that meeting. I
Did he
don't
sign?
remember seeing him at that
No,
meeting.
he was at the Harbor Board meeting.
Was he sworn in? As
He
an
said he
alternate?
swore, yes,
Okay, did he come in? He sworn in yet?
yes, they said he swore himself in. They came and he swore in. I asked her name, she said he came up and
I
just
don't
sworn
think
in.
he did, because that's what I asked him the other night.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
Well,
I said the paper should.
we'll make sure he does.
Okay, we can have it.
I heard he did, but I don't know, I was.
He didn't say he was sworn. I said, have you been sworn in yet? He said, no. Well, I do it.
He only heard you say, have you sworn yet? He didn't say yet, so now you have to correct.
My notes show that Tony was missing one report.
Yeah. I was
Oh,
here,
and
wasn't I?
Joanne was here, yes, he was. I spoke to Joanne. Yes, definitely remember you, we opened up the sand and the salt.
Make a motion to approve Mr. Rule's minutes of October 4th.
Never mind.
Thank you.
We will just sign, okay, now, next on the agenda, we have an auction, when Renee and Suzette were down at the MMA convention, they met someone who has agreed to auction off our front loader or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and also the ambulance, and he thinks he can do better than what we were hoping.
Yeah.
And he only takes his money on top of what we get in the auction, it isn't,
And then we did up front.
well, it's like, depending on how old the vehicle is, it's like
Yeah.
10%, I read the contract, so it looks like a good
that's
thing to do.
Yeah.
And he comes up and takes pictures, and it's an online auction,
Great.
Yeah.
so are you all for that?
Yeah.
So that's- so then I'll make a motion to allow Renee to sign this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
She met him,
Yeah.
second,
Second.
all in favor? Okay, so we'll just
Sign all this.
She said, is there anything else we want to know?
Yeah.
Carol, do we
Yes,
have permission for that to be on the town website
what about?
for the auction?
Yes, we'll make sure it puts on, can you make a little note for that to have Renee put, how to go to the, how to
And what is a
bid on the auction,
auction items?
and there's two.
Yes.
There's the ambulance and then there's the equipment from Public Works. We have to sign a deed again because there was a middle initial that was legally supposed to be spelled out for the person, so this is actually a deed we've signed, but we're re-signing a deed with a correction. So I need a motion to sign this,
So,
and all in favor? Okay, so this one you have to sign exactly the way they've got your name. So if you have a middle initial, you have to sign it that way. Okay, there you go. And we need witness. Who wants to witness?
Can I get a witness?
Marilyn? Will you witness these signatures on this claim deed?
He's closer to the table than I am.
Well, you.
There you go, we have volunteers.
Get behind the pole like Ben Senior. Okay, well, everybody sign it, then you can sign 5 times.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna start singing it to you on YouTube.
I think we should be the singing select.
Yes.
Don't you, what do you want to sing? The national anthem?
take this job and shove it.
Oh, but we did it already. We already did it.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't sign it. Okay, well, let's just sign it again. Maybe that's the problem. I think there was 2, but we'll do it again. Debbie just found that the appointment papers.
I went to last meeting, we went to, sorry.
I don't know what this is.
Oh, yeah, we know that.
Carol, for Carol.
Yeah, but it could have just been a copy, but we'll just sign it again. It's always better to have two. We're signing Carol Dinsmore's appointment papers again because Debbie found a blank in there.
We're not letting you go, Karen. We're not letting you go, Jay.
That's right.
All right,
He's very right.
village cemetery letter. Did you all receive that letter in an email?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so I just wanted to read what, I thought that Renee was gonna answer it, and I thought that she should at least let us have some input since the letter was addressed to the select board. You know what I mean? If it's addressed to us, I think we probably should have a chance to make some kind of comments before it's answered. I think your comment is fine, she knows more about it than we do, but do you wanna add anything further to it? He said, thank you for your email, I agree wholeheartedly with everything you've stated and observed your sheet, to summarize, someone from the south came up and thought it was sad that there's so many of the historic gravestones were knocked over and not cleaned. That was the gist of the letter, and she would hope that we would be able to do more for our history of our town. And she gave us some suggestions as where we could find some help. So Renee responded by, I agree wholeheartedly with everything you've said, stated and observed, you are correct, and the town, we pretty much only mow and trim. We are in hopes to create cemetery committee. I've spoken to Lubec Historic Society President Barbara Saletto, and she also is in agreement. We need to do something. Currently, there's a big project the Historic Society and the town are tied up with, but once that winds down, I'm hoping to have this committee started. I attended a convention a couple of weeks ago in Augusta and learned of an organization called MOCA, Maine Old Cemetery Association. I'm hoping they can help us with something. Do we have anything to add to that?
Only that many years ago, and I think it was when I was on the Maine Historic Society, that subject was brought up again, and we talked to several people about it. And I can tell you that there are almost two schools of thought about old cemeteries. One is, of course, you need to gussy them up, make them look great. All the stones need to be erect and cleaned and polished. The other one is not so much that the cemetery tombstones should be flat, they should be erect. But some of that aged look on the cemetery is very desirable. That it indicates that it has some, for the sake of another word, artistic value.
Well, yeah.
And these were photographers and artists who were talking about it. So
That's true.
I
With the
think
antiques.
generally, yeah.
With
generally-
antiques, if you clean them, they lose their value.
Yes, exactly. But I think making the tombstones upright
Yeah, that would be good.
might be the
So that you
first
can
step.
read them, I think
Yes,
that's
yes.
Tony, what do you think?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Just if we
Oh,
can
okay, yeah.
upright.
Yeah.
And she suggested maybe the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts could help clean. I mean, the lady had some interesting suggestions.
We
Yeah,
need somebody with a machine here and there to lift them up and,
yeah.
might
What
have
do
to
you
hand
think,
fill.
Joanne?
Well, there's been a lot of reasons why these stones are the way they are. Some are age, some are vandalism. Back in the late 90s, we had a very bad windstorm. It was actually the day that the 8th grade graduating class were in the middle of the gym. And we were, and Danielle was in that grade, and all of a sudden, it was just like a water spout, almost a tape to
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how many trees it took down in that cemetery. And along with the trees when they were uprooted.
Yes.
I mean, all,
Brought up the tombstone.
numerous,
Yeah.
even caskets
Yeah.
came out of the ground.
Wow.
And-
Would you tell that story in a couple of weeks around Halloween?
No. But, so there's a lot of reasons why they're the way they are. The state of Maine does provide, for your towns to maintain your veterans.
Yes, yes,
And that's something we've been lax in because we haven't had the money to do it.
yes.
But, if we can all get, maybe a subcommittee of the subcommittee, I don't know, to
Well, I believe
cemetery
that
committee.
people have been talking about starting a committee. We can actually make a motion to create a cemetery committee. Then we would have to go and find people.
Mhm.
You want to do that to address this
And I think
letter?
the Historic
Why don't we
Society should have members of them. I think when I was member, Patsy Kelly, I think, took that upon herself with, Mulholland. The one with the
Well, why don't we
Mulholland.
create a town cemetery
Jim
committee
Mulholland.
and then a cemetery beautifying committee, or however you want to phrase it.
Maintenance.
Well, yeah, it's just the cemetery committee.
Yeah.
To, historic cemetery committee, I don't know how you wanna word it, but we have the power to create the committee. And then it would be up to someone putting it on Facebook or on the website to elicit members of the committee.
Mhm.
I
What do
know
you-
in some towns, the public works department,
Well,
if your cemetery is owned by the
Yes.
town,
Yes.
your public works department,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. And the
shores them
parks.
up with, you know, cement or whatever,
Okay,
so I don't know if that's something you wanna look into, if you
Yeah,
wanna.
they may wanna research it
outside
first.
of that
so we
venue.
don't wanna make a committee to,
It's
You
up
wanna-
to you, it's up to you.
well, I don't know, Barbara's we'll wanna wait till next, wanna think about it.
I'd like to talk to the historical society, see how they feel.
Yes.
They might
They're
feel
having a
it's too
meeting
much
right
for them,
now,
I know.
Barbara's not here because she's
I know.
having a meeting.
Mhm.
They might feel it's too much for them, I mean, they've got, you know, stuff they wanna do.
Well,
I just want to have to be included.
Once we make, once we create a committee,
Well, that's right.
it's not, we're not dumping it
You're
on
gonna
them.
have somebody to set those stones.
Yeah.
Yes. I also think there are some grants available for that. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not, all is not lost. It's not gonna be, yeah.
Okay, so, let's put it on next time, in 2 weeks. We'll
Yes.
revisit that, so we're gonna table that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're tabling that.
You know, that's something that, what's his name, Jim Backus might get into.
Why don't we, then we can say, would anybody be interested on sitting on a cemetery committee, provided
Yeah.
we
Put
start
it on the
one?
website,
Mhm.
as,
You like that idea?
Let's start there.
Hmm?
Start off and hang out on the website.
I'm not looking at you, you don't have to do it. I was not looking at you to sit on the
Post on our
committee.
website, is there?
I'm not looking, Rachel, and she thinks I want her to volunteer for something.
No.
She has to run away
good
now.
enough, good enough.
Okay, junkyard ordinance. We had a few complaints about our property, and so I revisited the junkyard ordinance with the code enforcement officer. Believe it or not, in 1999, the town of Lubec, were you doing that then? Joanne, you've been there with that.
I have.
So, the site was evaluated and there were 3 cars without registration, and the law is that you have to have less than 3. So you can have as many registered vehicles as you own on your property, but they can't be unregistered, which I usually assumes that they're not working well enough and they can be considered junk. So a verbal warning was given and one of the cars is going to be removed. But just for the public's sake to understand what a junkyard is, or an automobile graveyard, or just, it has to deal with, and I'll just read the very first line, which would be like the purpose of the whole ordinance. The purpose of this ordinance is to provide adequate controls to ensure that junkyards, automobile graveyards, and automobile recycling businesses do not have an unreasonable adverse impact upon the public health, the safety, or the welfare of the community. So I don't believe an eyesore is exactly something that falls under those 3 categories, unless it's health, safety, or welfare. I know you were around when this was created, so I would like to defer to you.
Maybe
what
someone
you-
drove by and went, oh my eyes.
We had,
So,
we had a problem with an individual in North Lubec, and that individual, actually had applied for and was an automobile junkyard. But in order to do that, you do have to comply with, there's stipulations.
6 foot fence.
Yeah, or some
And
kind of
setbacks and
barrier,
stuff,
whether it be bushes or whatever, to, you know, hide it from the public view. So, but that vehicle, that venue's gone now, so we don't have to deal with that. But evidently you've had a complaint about
An issue, yeah.
somebody else that might be
Yeah.
doing, I mean, I don't think they're
No.
in the business for
No.
that sort of
But
thing.
anyway, they were visited by Jim and it's fine. They're
And
fine,
Jim
so-
spoke to me before I came in tonight and said
Yeah.
that we talked with these people and they're working on correcting it. But I said that, I had seen it
But
time and time again, and it was almost an evolutionary thing, like
There's an application, you
Yeah.
need, if you want to be
You're
a
gonna have
junkyard, you
yeah.
need this.
And then there are ways you can, it's $100, I read. I don't know. $100 fine, application fee for a permit, and then there's restrictions. It can't be so close to a beach, a public facility, a playground, a school. It doesn't say anything about it, other than 50
Yeah.
feet back from a public way, so, anyway. It's all in this nice little ordinance we created.
Mm.
So that was just informational. Dog licenses are now available starting February 1st, 2018. There will be a late fee of $25. We're gonna be putting this in the front, so.
Oh, I know.
Oh, the team, the sports team.
Yeah, cross country.
Yeah,
They just got back?
Yep.
Well, that's good, that's a good siren then.
Is the
Absentee-
dog license, by the way, is that,
State mandate,
mandatory?
State.
I think we should-
yes. Well, it is mandatory.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
dog
Speaking
licenses
to the
are
camera.
mandatory.
Yep.
Very good point. That is why we are trying to encourage people to come up and get them, because when are they late?
You can start now, the dog licenses go from October 15th to January 31st. Any, after that, they'll be charged a $25 late fee.
Wait a minute, say
Town
that
doesn't do
again.
it,
It
this is
starts
the
when?
state.
October?
It's already started, it started October 15th. And it goes through to
Oh.
January 31st.
Oh, I see, so starting February 1st,
Yeah.
that's when you get the late
Cost to
fee.
get your
Yeah, how much is a dog
dog
license?
license from between October 15th and January 31st?
Yeah,
How much
if
is
they,
that? What's the
if
license
the
fee?
picks are spaded, they're $6.
Yeah.
If they're not, it's 11.
So
Okay.
6 or 11 is
The fee for the license, and it's
Great
annual,
normal fee
annual,
is
right?
compared
Once a
to
year.
that fee plus a fine.
Yes.
Right, and that's per dog.
okay, so is this clear that after February 1st, there will be a late fee? Okay,
So,
as long as
if
that's
you own a
from now
dog,
until then.
if you own a dog, you need to come and get their license. It's annual requirement, it's mandated by the state, it's $6 for fixed and $11 for unfixed, and $25 after February 1st, and there is nothing Debbie or Mary or Suzette can do at the window starting February 1st. It's all in a machine, and she cannot look at your sad face and do anything about the
Right,
way
dog
you
expression.
You cannot do that.
No.
Bring a copy of the rabies certificate.
I'm so
And bring a
glad.
copy of the rabies certificate. Do you need that?
Oh,
Yes, you need to see the current rabies certificate.
sorry, and you also need a rabies certificate. Okay, very good. I'm glad you were here to tell us all about that. Absentee ballots are now available for the November 7th election.
We got one in the mail.
Well, you must have requested one.
No,
Well, I didn't get one.
Some of them,
it may be for my sister.
It must be.
Yes,
probably because
yeah.
I didn't get one.
Okay.
Okay, where were we? Now, we were given, thankfully, a phone call from the pyrotechnics people for our 4th of July celebration. And the sooner we get the contract back signed, the sooner we get the 4th of July, which is a Wednesday with a rain date of the 5th. And I spoke to the committee about it, and they said they would like to roll over all the games and activities on the 5th if they can't set them off on the 4th. So, I would like a motion to allow Renee to sign that contract tomorrow.
So moved.
And
Yes.
it's the same price as last year. All in favor? And it's right here. And that Jay has agreed to do that again. Jay Dinsmore, we thank him so much. He said at the time he'd do it again. Well, actually, responsible person is me.
So all those games are all part of that wonderful crew of women who are in the town celebration committee?
Yes.
They are amazing.
If for some reason I have to sign it, do I have permission to sign it because I got my name on here as responsible person? I mean, I'm gonna let Renee sign it, but I don't, they know who I am.
Carol is a responsible person.
I don't know, heaven forbid. Okay, other business. The harbor board met on Monday and they approved of a complimentary hoist usage policy of which they've asked the select board to sign off on. and this is a copy of it. It's basically, if you pay your mooring fee, you get a key, it's gonna be numbered, correct?
The
And
key will be numbered.
And you get it. Now, I wanted to ask you, at the end of the first year, how does that work if they don't pay their, how are you gonna collect your two's mooring fee once they've already got their key?
Well, once we establish, we're gonna have a number of keys issued for those who don't have moorings. Just like,
Well, I think,
that's in there.
so they also have to pay, if you don't have a mooring,
right, if somebody
it's
wants a key,
$50,
yeah.
and
it's like
non-residents, $250.
Right,
But we do have that big boat that comes a lot, and he doesn't have a mooring, that giant boat.
right.
But then but you also look at it as who's picking up this. Oh, I see what you're saying, because usually if one of the seafood companies here goes to the hoist,
Right,
well, you know, Ralph was, the harbor master was explaining to me that, they don't need the hoist fee because that truck is picking up fish from a boat that owns a hoist key and a mooring, which makes total sense to me, but there is times when they pick things up that in fact, it would behoove them, one of our favorite words, it would behoove them to purchase a $50 hoist key in case a boat comes, such as that one that comes from Canada. There's
right,
that blue boat that comes like every other day.
right.
That one should, and they don't have a mooring,
No, the mooring, right.
right?
So we have to
So,
set up a tip.
do they need to be considered non-resident as a $250?
They would be considered non-resident, sure.
But if the truck picking it up has theirs, and one end of the hoist usage has to be the person using the key, I imagine.
There's always gonna be something we gotta figure out, and that's one of the issues.
That's one usage.
Since, they're using the hoist for a commercial purpose. And at one time payment of that hoist fee is gonna cover them for the year.
Right. I guess in the case of, our newly established fishing company, it would be smart for them to get the $50 hoist key, because then they'd have a key if they didn't have a key or they forgot their key.
That's
So
right.
someone probably would like to call them on that.
They-
So what do we need to do here? Just make a motion to pass this,
That, they agree with the,
that we agree?
with this proposal or
Is anybody-
policy.
Did you see it already?
And we're hoping that it's gonna also cut down on
Well,
the fees,
yes.
on the
Well, the
maintenance.
jerry rigging of it and everything else.
And all the other
Sure.
issues that are associated with it.
So who would like to make that motion?
Responsible.
Would you like to make the motion?
I'd like to make a motion that our board consider the hoist supplements the hoist fee policy as was displayed to them.
Yes.
I'll second that. All in favor? Yeah, second and second. Public comment? Wow, quiet tonight. Good. Ready updates, Tony?
The next harbor board meeting will be on November 20th, which is the third Monday of the month.
And that's changed. Harbor Board is now the third Monday of the month, and that's working out better for you.
It seems it is, yes.
Joanne?
Our next, Downey CMS meeting is December 11th. We're doing good, so we, are going to go once a month.
What
Every
are
other
you doing?
month.
Every other month.
Every other month,
Good. That's
once
good.
every other month.
Very good. What about you, Rachel?
Well, the recycle committee didn't meet again.
Renee wanted me to remind you that the next meeting you had planned was on a holiday.
November
Yes.
8th, 7th.
Something.
Veterans Day.
Oh, what,
Veterans.
what?
All right, I will email all of them and tell them
Okay.
when the next meeting is, because we'll have to postpone it.
Okay.
However, we just finished the economic development meeting
Exactly.
today, which was quite exciting, because as everybody knows, we are going headlong to get broadband in here and to convince every young millennial with a family to move into Lubec, beautiful Lubec.
Excellent. That sounds
And we've incorporated Fred Pierce, former select person, to join us. And we are looking for other people because, quite frankly, even though I'm running this, I have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm
good.
just,
Very good.
you know, and I would be very open about that.
Don't quote her on that.
Yeah, so I would just say, anybody who really,
Public meeting.
yeah, and that, no, I have no problem with that, but I need people who are very savvy about this. And I will support them, I will do anything they want, but I want broadband into this town. And so I have two things that I want to give out to the public. One is people, if they're interested in this broadband, they should check out the Made Broadband Coalition and also the Lubec Citizens Association.org, because Fred will incorporate that website as part of the Lubec Citizens and bring everybody up to date as to how we go forward.
LubecCitizens.org, who runs that?
So LubecCitizensAssociation.org.
Who's
Well,
who
Fred is
that?
in charge of that website. It used to be,
Is that the one here in Burke?
yes,
Oh, it was
that one.
back in
He
the
still
day.
has it, so,
Oh,
and this
all right.
certainly is applicable for that, so,
Accountability and
yes.
transparency in government, remember?
Yes,
We went to that.
yes.
Behind the pole.
And we, yeah,
And we're looking for anyone to volunteer that has any marketing expertise.
Yes.
That's the big push, is we need help with marketing.
marketing of
Yes.
broadband, yes.
That was Fred's advice. He said that's the biggest thing that we need in this whole
Yes.
collaboration is
Yeah.
marketing.
And he emphasized that the broadband is a means, it's just a means to the end. Really what you need is somebody to market it and convince people to come. Because we really do have broadband already in some facilities.
So now what about your COG meeting? When's the next one?
November the 14th, you and I are going to that meeting. We need to call Judy, yeah, because you're part of it, remember, you joined.
Yes, all right.
So she can look at you,
Yes.
committee stuff, but you can't look at her. So
No, she did join, because
You're not, oh, I'm the alternate, but I certainly will go, no problem.
okay, because Judy resigned, remember, she did.
Oh, okay.
That's right, so
November 14th, but is it in the
Twice.
daytime?
It's like, I've got it at home, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe we're
Dan.
all alone, I want to say November.
I don't know.
But as always, as I look into the camera every other Wednesday at this exact moment, please go onto our town website with the opportunities that the revolving loan has for all entrepreneurs and aficionados of business.
Aficionado, excellent word.
Uh,
That's the word of the
So
day.
please do, we have
It's fish in
wonderful
there, that's why
process
you
and
used it.
opportunity.
Yeah.
What?
It's fish in that word, aficionado.
Aficionado.
No, fishing too much.
Rock back and forth when you say that.
Fisher.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And I have a shellfish committee meeting on the second Monday of the month, so that would be November 13th. And November 1st is the next Safe Harbor meeting at 5, and that's going really well. And there will be, in November, a presentation, I have to go to, I and whoever else is gonna go present, we have 5 minutes to present our presentation down in front of the whole LMF board in Augusta, and we don't have the date yet. I'm hoping it's not on Veterans Day. But
When is
Patrick Keller is the board chair of the LMF, who happens to be the commissioner of the DMR, and the DMR is now the one that's gonna be running, using, getting the money for the working waterfront. They're gonna be co-partnering with the Department of Agriculture and Conservation and all that. That's where LMF is under, and they're gonna be doing the application process, and then the DMR, it's just been turned over to DMR as of like a month ago. And I believe that within the next 6 months, they're gonna call for a request for proposal for working waterfront. So it's exciting for a Safe Harbor project.
I
Okay.
think the whole Safe Harbor project is
I
exciting.
think it is.
Yeah.
I think it really is.
So that'll be fun.
Mhm.
And we'll be happy to see Renee back, and we thank Debbie so much for taking the time out to spend the whole day working along with Mary that's today in the office, and then coming back for our meeting, and we really appreciate it. And it goes to show what cross-training has really done to the office, because every single one of the ladies that work for us in the town office can seem to be able to do
That's
every
right.
single thing, and it's quite amazing. They just put on every different hat, and I'm just
It's good.
really happy about it, and thank you.
Thank you.
So with no other comments, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
All in favor? Third. All right. All right.
The game was very late.
You need to start something?
Oh, the yes, yes,
Is it in place?
Stephanie is the witness,
Yeah.
remember?
Yes.
Is this for me?
You may have to get another one. I hope that's not the other junkyard ordinance that we have. Imagine we have another one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awful, yeah.
That's, put you to sleep reading.
There's a